All right, we are live. Y'all can hear me pretty clear.
We can hear you.
Got them pushed up, ain't you, Drake?
Yeah. Right there. That button.
Silver one at the bottom.
Silver at the bottom. Right, right there. Right there on the table. Come down here.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, there you go.
All right.
Hand almost ready.
Mm-hmm. Great evening, everyone. I hope that each of you are remaining safe and are well and in good health this afternoon or evening. I am Brittany. I'm assisting with Representative Fabian Nelson on his show, Reliable Representation. And we have a special guest today. So we're going to talk about some important topics this evening. Feel free to call in and let us know any questions or comments or concerns that you may have as it relates to District 66 or any other district in Hinds County. As always, Representative Fabian Nelson would be happy to help you as long as you reside in Hinds County with any of your issues that you have. So this evening we have Mr. George in, and Mr. George is going to tell us a little bit about him, what he has going on, and what his assignment is that he plans on for his office that he's seeking. So, Mr. George, welcome to Reliable Representation. How are you this evening?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. So, tell us a little bit about you. Tell us your first, your last name, what you do, where you live. Tell us a little bit about you.
Awesome. So again, my name is George Stewart, and I am an educator
Okay.
who is running for Hinds County School Board, District 3. A little bit about myself. I'm a 17-year educator.
Great.
Very much still in the classroom as we speak.
Okay.
I'm also the president of the local Jackson Association of Educators, which is the largest local association in Mississippi. So I have experience in supporting educators as well as our students and advocating for their needs. I also serve on several nonprofit boards, one nonprofit on which I am currently the board president, which is called Mississippi Families as Allies. We support families who are raising children with mental health and behavior challenges. So even in that position right there, I have great experience in supporting families who are raising children with mental health and behavior challenges. And I have two beautiful children, one 10, one 13. So I'm a Hinds County parent. And I love Hinds County. I'm a resident of Hinds County, been in Hinds County for over 10 years now. And I'm just looking to, serve Hinds County as a school board representative.
Okay, great to hear. So definitely you hear education. That's a close and dear topic to most of us
Yes.
in Hinds County. So let me ask this question.
Okay.
You stated District
3.
Okay, so what area does that encompass?
That's a little bit of Byram.
Okay.
And the way it's set up is spread out, of course, but a little bit of Byram, Terry, Edwards, Utica, Raymond. So
Okay.
It's kind of spread out amongst Hinds County, but a little bit of each particular area, Edwards. And so those are pretty much the districts that encompasses School Board 3.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about the campaign trail. How has that been going before we get into questioning and answering?
Yes, it's been going great. I've been out, been meeting the people, been talking about education, talking about myself. I've been getting great support, so I appreciate the support I've been getting. And so I'm happy to be out there amongst the people just talking about this work. I've been in a short amount of time. I've been across Hinds County, and I've been again loving the support.
Okay, great. So let me ask you this: what do you plan on bringing to Hinds County School Board that will be different than what our current board has?
Well, I plan to bring some new, fresh ideas.
Okay.
Somebody who has a heart and mind for community.
Okay.
Somebody who wants to bring community and education together. Okay. I have what I call outside inside approach to education in which we focus on building the community. And once we build a community, how we do that and bring that in and help, engulf the school district and just work with them. And so I'm somebody who is resourceful, somebody who works in policy, somebody who has nonprofit board experience, somebody who is still in the classroom. And that's something that's totally different than none of the school board members are actually still in the classroom. So I am still very much in the classroom right now. And so I'm very close to the issues that our students face today. And so I bring that, and somebody who, again, worked in the policy space. So somebody has some fresh ideas, some new ideas, and nothing against the ones that are currently seated there, but I just think it's time for some new, fresh ideas.
Okay, and I can totally respect that decision. So let me ask you this question. Since you stated that you were in the classroom, so how should the school board, as well as I would say school administrators, address underperforming schools? Because I know that that's a big ticket item. This is on everyone's radar.
It is. And so, again, when I mentioned earlier about community, people ask me, so how do we help fix education? How do we fix the system? What do we need to do? And what I tell people is you cannot effectively fix the system until you first fix the community. So there has to be a community effort first.
Okay.
Because what happens is you have students in the system who learn one thing, and then they take that thing out into the community. So what you have, sometimes you have two sets of rules. You have the rules in the school, and then you have the rules of the community. And so there's no cohesion there. And so what needs to happen, there needs to be more community building happening. And once you build that community, you build a strong foundation in the community, the school is part of that community, and then you bridge that gap. And that's how you bridge the gap between the education system and the community.
Okay, and I can totally agree with that. I think that is something that we lack is our community participation with our school district. So I definitely agree with that. Let me ask you this question. As far as merit pay for teachers, is that something that you support?
Now, merit pay for teachers myself, and I should back up and say that I started my teaching career in Texas.
Okay.
And so we experienced teacher merit pay there, and it didn't work out so good. And the question is, why is that? Because what ended up happening was you had teachers getting these big bonuses, right? But the problem was the classrooms weren't all the same. They weren't the same. So this class may have some kids that may have far more challenges than maybe the kids in this classroom right here, or this school. So we're talking about schools. Maybe this school here may have more challenges, whether it be low income, special education, different challenges, and then this school right here. And so what you have is inequity in regards to how the landscape is set up in regards to across the board the schools. And so for me to answer your question, I'm not necessarily a big supporter of merit pay, only because, again, my experience with it just wasn't a good experience with it when I was in Texas. And again, you had some teachers getting as much as about $10,000.
Wow.
But at the same time, when you look at the breakdown of their classroom opposed to the breakdown of the other teachers' classroom, you notice that there was huge, academic and, social gaps there. And so maybe that could be worked out some kind of way. I'm not sure what that looks like. But for me, that experience wasn't a great experience. So I'm not necessarily a huge, supporter of merit pay.
Okay. How should school board members evaluate school performances? How do you think that could be vital in the success of our school district as well as our communities?
Well, I think first of all, school board members have to be present.
Okay.
Oftentimes, I've talked to, students, I've talked to educators, and what they've shared with me is that they don't know who their school board members are.
Wow.
And so, first of all, you have to be present, and so seeing what's going on within the classroom and what's going on in the schools. But as far as evaluation, of course, you have the general things we talk about, test scores and things of that nature, but also what does the art program looks like? What are the social emotional programs looking like? When you talk about teachers and just something as simple as just checking in with the teachers and seeing how they're doing, it's just
that's very
something
vital.
that builds morale, and so those are the things that I think should be great as far as evaluating, schools and students and educators and how they're performing.
Okay, let me backtrack a question here.
Okay.
Tell me, what is the role of a school board member? Because there may be some listeners who may not even know what is the role of a school board member.
Right. So basically, a school board member provides oversight to the school district.
Okay.
They're the ones that set policy. They vote on different issues in regards to curriculum. They set budget priorities, but provide that oversight and just making sure that the school operates and functions the way they're supposed to function. But basically provides that oversight. And again, they vote on issues that are vital to the school. Again, whether it be curriculum, whether it be budget issues. One of the main functions is hiring and firing of the superintendent, which is very important.
It
right?
is.
Because you want to make sure that you have a great superintendent that comes in and do the job that needs to be done. So that's probably one of the top roles of the school board is to hire and fire. And we hope we never get to that point. But if the case needs to happen, that's one of the things that need to happen. But that's the role of the school board.
Okay, so great. So you mentioned earlier that you've been in the classroom.
Yes.
You have some experience there.
Yes.
So let me ask you this. Do you believe all children can perform at grade level, including those who are in poverty-stricken areas versus the higher end? For instance, I know as a former JPS grad, you have the IB and APAC, then you have the standard level schools. And so it's always tending where the APAC and IB schools always outperform those students who are just in our general education classrooms for whatever reason. So what's your position on that?
I think that all students can perform on grade level. The issue is, or the challenge is making sure that you have the things in place to fill in the gaps. Because sometimes, of course, teaching in districts where their students are low income, where there's challenges, we have students that are behind.
Definitely.
And so what you want to do is, how do you fill in those gaps? How are you intervening with those students? How are you filling those gaps in? And so I definitely believe that all students can, whether it be general ed, gifted, exceptional ed. And I like to mention that I have a son. I mentioned my son earlier. He's 13 years old, but he's nonverbal autistic. And so
really?
He falls in that category of exceptional ed. But at the same time, he's just as capable of excelling. He's just as capable of fulfilling his destiny, fulfilling his potential as anybody else. The problem is, or the challenge is, or the thing is, do we have those people in place, or do we have those systems in place to help fill in any gaps that may exist?
Gotcha. I like that approach. And so tell me about, I've never heard about nonverbal. Never heard of it.
Yes.
Really?
Yes. So
okay.
Yes. So autism basically is a disorder that affects communication and social skills.
Okay.
And so it's also what's called a spectrum disorder, which means that there's a spectrum, and so no two autistic children are alike. And so one could be high functioning all the way down to very low functioning, which typically children who are nonverbal autistic or who are nonverbal are low functioning because they have, that gap there, or they're not able to communicate at all, and so, or communicate through verbal language. And so it's a spectrum disorder. It affects communication as well as on social skills. And so, but again, with great intervention, with the people in place, with the systems in place, they can function just as well, or they can exceed or meet expectations just as great as anybody else.
Wow, that's awesome. Okay. So tell me, what is your position of an effective school board member? What does that look like?
Somebody who brings in fresh ideas, somebody who has a heart for community, somebody who wants to build community, somebody who is present, somebody who has a hand on the pulse of the issues that are taking place in the classrooms and in the schools, and just somebody who advocates. I think one of the biggest things is we have what I call a very serious issue with teachers leaving the classroom. And so we don't have a lot of teachers coming in to fill in for those that are actually leaving the classroom. And one of the reasons that teachers are leaving is because they don't feel supported. So who's on that school board that's going to advocate and support teachers on that school board? Which, with me being a current educator, somebody who's still very much in the classroom, there's a voice for educators, and not just classroom educators, but our para-educators, those that also are just as effective or sometimes have to serve in the space of a certified teacher. Because again, when we talk about teachers leaving, who are the ones filling those gaps when there's nobody to, fill in those gaps? It's your paraeducators, your paraprofessionals. And so we need somebody there who's going to support them, somebody who's going to be a voice of the community, not somebody who's going to just bring their own ideas and positions to the position, but to also take counsel from the community, somebody who's going to meet with the community, somebody who's going to talk to them, hear them, and not just on the back end, but on the front end, and let them be, part of the decision-making process.
So that takes me to a different point. I love what you just said. You mentioned two things that really struck a nerve with me, which were great. Community meetings. I don't see that happening with our school board members. A lot of times when we find out things, as you just mentioned, we're not a part of the decision-making process, so it's late. And so in most cases, it's like the decision has been made, you brought it to the community, and we just have to say, we're just been made aware of it.
That's right.
So when you say community meetings, would that be something that you have a vision for maybe once a month? How what's your perspective on community meetings? And then when the community is coming, are you able to accept the feedback? Because a lot of times we have people that are able to say, hey, I support it. I don't mind, having the meetings. But when you come and you state your claim or what your issues are, they're on the defensive side as if, they don't understand, but because you're in the classroom, so the issues that the educators are facing, the issues that the students are facing. So what would be your ideal community meeting to have? Because I think that's a great thing that we're missing.
Absolutely. And so to your question, it's a great question. So for me, community meetings, like once a month. Now, and I think it's great to mention that I'm an organizer by experience. As I mentioned, I'm the president of Jackson Association of Educators, which is a local of the Mississippi Association of Educators. And so I have a heart for organizing and community building already just by my experience. But also at the same time, I know that parents are the experts of their children. So when I'm in an IEP meeting, as I mentioned, my son, he's an exceptional ed student. When my wife and I are in an IEP meeting, we are very much in tune with what's going on, and we have our own ideas and we have our own things we bring to the table because we recognize that we are the expert of our children. And so when going into this, I look at the parent as the expert. Yes, I have experience in education. Yes, I have experience in policy and board work and everything like that, but the parents are the expert. And so what happens is when you're leaving out the experts, then you're not able to fully bring forth good policy and good ideas. And so back to your question, for me, I see myself doing, meetings monthly because it's important to get that feedback, and I welcome the feedback. It's important to get that because otherwise you're not going to really bring about, positive change if you leave out the experts in the child.
Great. So I love that aspect of the community meetings. Also, you mentioned about the educator from the educator standpoint, which is vital. And I was not aware that no one on our school board in Hinds County currently is an educator. So they may be retired educators, but again, things have changed from 10 to 15 years ago. What worked then won't work with the new age generation students. So we need someone, I do agree with, a little bit more of that experience piece, or even, some ideas that they could implement to change that would definitely be beneficial with the new age of students that we are dealing with. So what are 3 overall education priorities that you would deem important that are your hierarchy of needs that you would want to address?
Sure. First of all, we got to make sure that we're supporting educators. So that's top priority, educator support. Why is that? Because again, we have teachers leaving the classroom in droves. And Mississippi and Hinds County is not immune to that problem. And so I want to make sure that there's a voice on their board for educators, speaking for educators, speaking to their needs, speaking to their issues. That's number one. Also, I want to address the issue of making sure that there's great, robust special programming. I have a daughter she's very into theater arts, fine arts, that type of thing. And so she shouldn't have to go outside our community in order to find great fine arts, special programming, STEM, those types of things. And so I want there to be, some type of more robust special programming within the district. Also, I want there to be more, which is personal to me, but Also, in my conversation with the parents, I know that it's an issue that they want to see as well. But definitely want to focus on better investment in special education. One of the things that we realize within Hinds County is that yes, the teachers are, they're good, they're great, but there's a resource gap there. And so what I want to help do is help fill in that resource gap that exists within the exceptional education program within Hinds County.
Great, 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 great. You're on, Mr. George. Listen.
You know what I tell people? I've been doing this work for 17 years, and I've been working and training for this moment. This, from the classroom, from the policy experience, from the nonprofit board experience, from just being a parent, I've been working toward this moment almost 2 decades, I would say.
Wow.
So I'm ready.
Gotcha. So we definitely want to open up the phone lines. If anyone wants to call in and have any questions for Mr. George, definitely call in and ask your questions in regards to what he stated, his vision for Hinds County as he's seeking to obtain the school board role. So we definitely want to make certain that we put the right person in the right seat, so they can make certain there are the voice for the educators, the voice for our children, and definitely the voice for the parents and for the community, because as he stated, that is vital and that's what we need. So, Mr. George, is there anything else that you would like to share with us about your goals, your aspirations, or some things that you may need the public's assistance with is while you're running, as well as how can we help in the schools?
Sure. You mentioned earlier, I welcome the feedback. This is not something that I'm doing just for me, my own personal goals, my own personal idea. This is not just a me thing. I want this very much to be a community effort. I'm an organizer. I'm a community builder, and I know this work does not get done without the community. So I just want the public to know that I am welcoming of the feedback, the critiques, the ideas. I just want us to work together in order to help drive and bring home a better Hinds County School District. And so I feel like, I can be a good representation, but I cannot do it without the people. I cannot do it without the public. I cannot do it without the parents.
Gotcha. I didn't think about this, but it just a light bulb went off. What is your view on charter schools? I see we have a lot of them popping up everywhere all of a sudden. So our public schools seems as if there is vanishing away, and so everyone is moving to charter schools. But I'm a proud proponent, highly support of public education.
Absolutely. I'm glad Jack said that. And I can sometimes be public enemy number one when it comes to charter schools, I tell you. Because I know what their existence is when it comes to them existing and the traditional public school. And I'll say this, I don't want people to think that I am necessarily anti-school choice, but I am anti-school district cutting a check to a school in order for it to exist. And so for me, charter schools, as they currently are right now, they take away the money from the traditional public school. And so to be honest, I'm not necessarily a huge supporter as it is right now. And so again, when you're talking about school funding, and I give you an example, we're talking about school funding, and one of the districts they love to use as an example is Jackson Public Schools, right? And so I think Jackson Public Schools is like ground zero. Now, I'm not even gonna say like, it is ground zero for charter schools. And so when you talk about school funding, Breeze hasn't done anything that showed concern for low-income people as well as public schools. But what I can tell you, I can point to how he's undermined those two things.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing is, when you talk about who is in support of this bill, you had your charter school organization, your charter school supporters also behind this bill. So
Wow.
for me, I'm thinking, what is in it for them? So when you talk about Jackson Public School, you talk about charter schools, you're talking about, okay, yes, they're talking about JPS, but so goes JPS, so goes the charter schools. The more money JPS gets, the more money that can be siphoned into the charter school. And so for me, I wanted to see language that says, okay, if money goes to the charter schools, if the money follows the child, if that child goes to a charter school, for me to get behind this, I need to see language that says that that child goes back to Jackson Public Schools from the charter school, that money needs to follow that child back to Jackson Public Schools.
You're live on the Reliable.
There is no call in the queue. Thank you.
You're live on Reliable Representation. May we help you?
How you doing today? I'm glad that y'all having a show dedicated to the school and the school district.
Okay,
How
great.
you doing?
We're good.
All right. I'm a parent. I'm a concerned parent. My child goes to Terry High School or 6A High School out in South Hines County. He is an 11th grader. Now, I'm concerned about things that have happened to my child that maybe y'all are unaware about, but the concern is that DHS came to his school and took him off the football field while he was playing sports. Took him to an unknown location where I couldn't be with my child or know where he was for 48 hours. He was located in Rankin County, in Flowood. Now, the DHS is not telling the people of Hines County School District, when they take these children out of the school, they're taking them and putting them into Rankin County. They're taking y'all money and getting kids and putting them into Rankin County District. This is a concern, and this is a concern that y'all need to know about and need to nip in the bud. Dexter Robinson over at DHS and Carrie Mentor are the corporates who did this, and you guys are doing things in the DHS's hands that are just being outright and unwise. And when they're doing it, they're making parents be unaware of what's going on for 48 to 24 hours. I didn't know where my son was. And the streets of Jackson are deadly. Me as a concerned single 1% parent who does everything. I'm a single parent, black man. I did not get to do justice like if I was a black woman. They didn't think to say he has other people that he could go to. They put him and put him with white people in Flowood who got money from off my child. Meanwhile, I stay in a gated community in Brookwood. Was a city councilor, I tried to talk to him and stay there, he didn't do nothing. Was the reverend who owns the church up on the hill, didn't do nothing. Now I want to know, what are you going to do to him?
That's a great question. And for
The DHS is taking our children from Hines County and putting them in Rankin County and getting money for it. Right up under y'all noses. And I talked to the district guy down in Hines County, down in Highway 18. He didn't know what was going on. I went to his award show to be put in Raymond, and I was glad he was getting there. Being there was a man and everything, but he does not know what's going on.
and
Y'all need to know what's going on. And I just wanted to let y'all know that happened. DHS can take your child, and you won't know where he's at, and he's been located in Rankin County. My son had to get tipped from Rankin County every day for 5 months. My son was gone. 5 months. He was gone from somebody saying that he wasn't eating. My son is 205 pounds, 6'1", plays middle linebacker. 6A High School. And I got a lot to come down for somebody to believe it because I'm a single parent, black man. Now I want to know what can you do to change that, because if you can't change nothing for DHS people, you ain't doing nothing. And you ain't gonna be able to do nothing. So I want to know, I'm a real one. I stay right where the radio station is too. I'm from that baby, I'm from out west. But I stay in Byron now. I'm doing better. But I want to know what you gonna do.
And I appreciate that question. I think first of all,
I'm gonna get off like here.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna log on off.
Yes, sir. And I think first of all, that's a great question, and I'm sorry that gentleman has gone through that. And what I would say is, number one is just listening. You know, that's number one. We need to have venues. We need to have space.
Get more attention when you actually send these documentation into whomever these school board members, administrators, leadership team, whomever that is. You need to address your concerns with those people. And I know he sounds as if he's a great parent. He's reaching out because he's heartbroken. He's frustrated as well. But definitely start documenting your issues and your concerns. And when you don't receive results, follow up again.
Right.
Yes, it's tedious. It's nerve-wracking. It seems as if no one cares. But I promise, if you put it in writing and you stand on what you state, that how you feel about your claim, you will attract more attention from Hinds County or even Jackson Public Schools, because it shows that you're a concerned parent, you're a concerned individual, and you want what's best for you and your child and other children as well.
That's right. That's right. And then just those that are in a position to say something and do something, they have to say something. They can't sweep these things up under the rug and just hope these things will go away. They have to say something and be bold. And that's the thing, you know, that I look to bring to this position is bold leadership.
Correct. That's amazing. That's what we need. So, callers, if you have any other questions, concerns that you would like to address, definitely call in so that you can ask Mr. George Stewart. Again, we want to place the right person in the right seat. We are not endorsing anyone, but we are definitely saying vet your choices. I'll say it that way. Vet your choices.
Absolutely.
Make certain that you're putting somebody in that has a voice and a serious concern for you. Not because you like them, not because there's grandma's best friend and we go to church together, she bring the best cake. Let's put somebody in office that knows the needs of what is going on with our children.
That's right.
So, Representative Nels, I'm so glad to see you fresh off the road. I am so glad to see him this evening, Hinds County. He has made his arrival.
And y'all did great. I've been listening in. So y'all been doing really, really good. George, really good answers to these questions.
Thank you.
And as she said, it's so important that we're properly vetting the candidates, you know. So, right here. Okay.
Yes.
All right. All right. Look, had a little technical difficulties here, but yeah, it's very important that the candidates are properly vetted to make sure that we're electing the right people to the right offices. And so, heard some really good things. And I heard you talking a little bit about education, and yeah, you made very good points about that bill with money going to charter schools and not returning to JPS. Now, we've been really fighting that really hard, and we have another bill coming back over to us where they addressed some of these things. So I'm excited to see what it looks like. I'm tired of voting no. I'm ready to vote yes.
and you know what? I like to say, you know, I appreciate, as somebody who's one of your constituents, I appreciate the no, the bold leadership that you display. So I appreciate that. You know, once you kind of peel back the layers and you see why the vote was no, you get it. And so I appreciate you being bold on that. For sure.
That's it. You know, being a leader is sometimes you have to make tough decisions.
That's right.
Sometimes you have to make unpopular decisions, because when they were putting it out there saying that JPS is going to get $18 million more, how can you not vote for that?
That's right.
How can you vote for it if you're not ensuring that the kids are going to be getting it?
That's right.
Now, if the kids are getting it and it's distributed the way it should be, I have absolutely no problem, but it just isn't clear enough to me right now. So, we're working on it.
Yes, and like I said, it's just something about that. Like I said, when you see who's out front supporting this, when you see staunch charter school supporters, you got to ask yourself what's in it for them.
Absolutely.
And you have to peel back the layers and see. And so oftentimes they put forth JPS is getting all this money. But as I said, so goes JPS, so goes those charter schools. They can't get that money, JPS don't get it. So the more money they get, the more money the charter schools gonna get.
and something that we need to look at is we need to do the math. And when we look at the number of charter schools in the Jackson metro area, we have the most charter schools here than anywhere else in the state.
That's right.
So we have the most charter schools, and we're going to be getting the most funding.
That's
so
right.
A plus B equals C.
There you go.
And then charter schools are endorsing this. So
let me ask this question. I've been made aware I have not done my homework on it, so I don't like to
who you haven't done your homework? I can't
have
believe
not.
that.
I have not.
There must be something you just found out.
Listen, I have not done my thorough homework. So I know from just, a little vague knowledge that the charter schools perform less or lower, should I say, than our public schools. So my question is to this: why are we supporting something as far as our elected officials out here at the Mississippi State Capitol that we know is not in the best interest? Because I'm a proud believer that public school education will definitely work. If you have the right teachers in the classroom, it'll work. It will definitely work. But we're supporting the Inspire, like you alluded to, Mr. Stewart, and you have our governor out front on it, and he won't even support Medicaid expansion, which is healthcare that will provide a better health quality of life for poverty-stricken families who are not able to adequately take care of their families. So my question is, why? Because again, I hadn't done my homework on it, but I want to know, is that true that the charter schools tend to perform lower, but seem like we're endorsing them, giving them a license to say, hey, come on in our city, we want you?
Yeah, so to your question, charter schools are not performing as well as JPS.
Okay.
JPS, and we're using JPS because that's pretty much ground zero for charter schools. But charter schools are not performing as well as JPS. The idea is, and this is the plan I tell people, the goal is to privatize Jackson Public Schools. That's the plan. They want to have as less oversight over the school districts as possible. When you talk about who is supporting our Republicans in the office, when you talk about who is lobbying, who's putting lobbying dollars, and you can look online and see all the millions of dollars that are spent on lobbying, it's the charter lobbies. And so again, there's big money to be made in charter schools. There's very little oversight. There's a lot of big money to be made. And so if you can privatize the school district, you can have as least oversight as possible within those districts. And so for me, that's the goal that I see, is to privatize. Now on the parent side I think charter schools do a really great job of marketing themselves, making it appear that they're just as great. You see the nice uniform, you see the kids walking in straight line, you see the class raising their hands, being sweet, and you see all these things. And to a parent like myself and anybody else, that looks attractive to you. So I think charter schools do a really great job of marketing themselves and making them appear to be the better option when data shows it's not the better option, at least in Jackson Public Schools.
And like you say, the charter schools really trick the parents. So you come into a community and you say, you know what, come on, send your child a private, private school.
That's right.
And then, I'm gonna get them out of public school. So they sell a dream to them.
That's right.
Come on over here. And it's really not that. They really are failing our children by promising something that they're not delivering on. And like you said, Brittany, it is a child can learn anywhere. If you have the right teachers. I came out of Yazoo City School District, and it's a poverty area, poverty school district. Public schools were really bad when I was there. but we all came out and we still learned in that district. So it's not about the school, doesn't have to be fancy. It's all about the teachers that you have there and the efforts that you're putting into it.
And I go back to this again in that charter schools provide an option. And I don't want to say that I am anti-option. My problem is that JPS or any local school district happens to cut a check so that that school can exist. If you want to be private, and that's the thing, charter schools are basically private schools that operate like public schools. It's really a private school using public money, really what it is. And so, but at the same time, because it's in a local school district, when that money comes to JPS, they have to cut that charter school a check so that they can exist and function. And so for me, if you want to exist, that's fine. But I'm opposed to the district having to cut you a check so that you can operate. And so that's pretty much, my issue, with them. And so that's the thing that I speak out against. And so yeah.
My proposal is that we fully fund education, fully fund public education. And once that's done, we can start talking about charters. I don't care at that point,
Right.
because we pay taxes, and our taxes, ad valorem taxes and things of that sort go to fund our schools.
That's right.
And so when we're funding our schools, and then when you look at JPS, for instance, the issues and the problems that they're having, low census of students leaving, it's not that all these students are leaving, relocating. A lot of them are going to charter schools.
Absolutely.
And
That's right. And I know we're talking a lot about JPS, but I want, if somebody's running for Hinds County School Board, let me say this as well. There are charter advocates that are trying to put language in the bills where they can also put charter schools in districts that are C and B districts as well, without having school board approval. The way the charter school law is written right now, a charter school cannot move into a district unless that district is a D or below. So what they're trying to do now is put language in these bills that will now say they can now move into districts that are now B and above. Because right now they can't move into a district that's a B unless there is school board approval. But with the language they're trying to get in there now, if I can move, it's pretty much charter expansion. So if somebody's running for Hinds County School Board, so now you're talking about coming into my territory, our territory,
on our turf,
as a B district without school board approval, then that's an issue, and that's why it's important to have people that can make these decisions that are on the school board as well, because if it comes down to a school board approval, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm saying no. I'm voting no.
You like me, ready to vote. So I have a question for you. This is something that intrigues me. So just so I'm correct, there are no charter high schools in Jackson. Am I correct?
There's one I know for sure, Smilo
Okay.
High School.
So we have one charter high school. And that's over in North Jackson.
Correct.
Okay. So say for instance, I have kids, I'm in South Jackson, and I have kids in the charter school in South Jackson. When they get ready to go to high school, that means I'm going to make arrangements to get them all the way to the other side of town,
Right.
or either put them in a public school
That's right.
in the district. Okay. So
And that's the issue for those that don't know, like New Orleans is currently almost pretty much 100% charter school. And I think that is the goal, to get Jackson, like New Orleans, to be 100% charter. And one of the main issues that they're having in New Orleans is what you're talking about, Representative, is the transportation across the city as they're trying to get their kids from school to school. So yes, there's an option, but what are the issues, or what have they thought about transporting these kids across the city? And so that's why I think that the neighborhood school, the traditional school, very much needs to be a part of this process still.
And another thing, with charter schools around here, they have school buses. They might have 2 or 3 school buses, and they'll pick your child up in the parking lot of a shopping center. Literally.
That's right.
You take your children to, I know, Ellis, the Save-A-Lot over on Ellis Avenue is a bus stop for, and they'll come on the bus. And I just, that bothers me.
What it comes down to me is it's not very thought out, but it's a money move, if you ask me. You have these individuals who see that there's big money to be made in public education, putting these private schools that are being funded by public dollars, and they see big money there, and they know that they have the people in the spaces to make these decisions to make it become reality. That's why you see people like, in my mind, in my opinion, you see people like Tate Reeves endorsing school choice, and You see people that were like once our former Secretary of Education, Betsy DeVos, who's a huge charter school proponent, who's a very huge supporter. You have to ask yourself, why these people, do they really care about Black people? Do they really care about brown people like that? You're a multimillionaire, billionaire. Do you really care about Black people, brown people, poor people like that? And so once you kind of peel back the layers and you see what's really going down, then you know better.
Wow.
And I love the saying is stop trying to reinvent the wheel.
Exactly.
And our wheel right now is public education.
That's right.
We have a good system that we need to tune up and work on.
That's the
Let's
thing.
work on fixing that first. After that's fixed and fully funded, I don't care. We can give a voucher, whatever you want to do. People go to
Absolutely.
the charter school, that's fine. But we got to start back with that because the charter school can literally come in tomorrow and say, you know what? Oh, we're shutting down. They can go bankrupt. We're shutting down.
That's right. And I hate to bash on them, but there's somebody from school, they get under my skin. They get under my skin. I'm going to tell you another reason why. Because you have students that will go to the charter school, but you'll see those kids come back to the public school. And one thing I know is that when those kids come back, two things I know, they're either behind academically or they have some kind of behavior challenges. So what they have the autonomy to do is kind of remove kids who they don't think fit their system. And so typically, like I said, in my experience, when we've had a student transfer back from the charter school, one or two things are true. Again, they're either academically behind or they have some kind of behavior challenge and have been removed.
Or both.
Exactly, or both. Which really, you're right, if they're academically behind, they have
It's gonna be both.
Yeah, that's right. You're absolutely right.
I'm gonna say it is, school board. It's so important to everybody, and what we're dealing with right now is we're running into issues, in the legislature where we're trying to get education funded. It's important that our school board understands how these funds, when we start funding these schools, that they're appropriating this funding in the proper way. It's important that they understand the legislation behind it. And I'm gonna tell y'all, George has been on it. He texted me, calling me, hey, what you think about this? But he really wants to understand. That means a lot to me that he's taking that effort to understand it before he gets the job. We won't claim it before he gets the job. He's taking the effort, and that's important because if you don't know what's going on, how can your board function properly?
Absolutely.
It's so important.
And I tell you, I was at the Capitol last week. I had a meeting with one of the representatives who is behind the Inspire bill, and so we connected. And I was there. And so what you do know, you will have a school board member in me who will be at the Capitol, if need be, advocating for our students and advocating for our schools.
That is absolutely great. This sounds supposed to be going to the polls, sound like.
So tell us, when is it time to vote? So those who are out there listening may not know, when do we vote?
Yes, so it will be the same as the presidential election, November the 5th. And again, so so I wouldn't be on everybody's ballot in Hinds County, but those, like I said, a little bit of Byram, I don't have my list in front of me, but
Those
some
areas
of
that
Byram,
you cover.
exactly. And I'll be out and about. I will be out in your communities, talking with you all, asking you where you vote, because depending on where you vote, that tells me what if I would be on your ballot or not.
I'm gonna ask this good question for both of y'all. Why do people not take much interest in school board? It's it's a forgotten, and it's so important.
It is.
It is, and I tell you, a lot of people don't even like the question you asked me earlier, Brittany, was what does a school board do? A lot of people don't know. Like it's like that entity out there that people just don't know about, which for me, that's one thing that I want to change. I tell you, I've been getting a lot of phone calls and people been connecting with me since I've been out there just asking questions. So I think the lack of education, educating the community about the school board is not there like it should. So again, I'm an organizer, and I'm a advocate by experience. And so with me, you have somebody out there meeting with parents and meeting with people and probably helping some other people run as well. You know what I'm saying? So because again, since I've been out here, people have been asking me. I didn't know. They didn't even know that the Hinds County School Board was an elected position.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm now talking to people now and letting them know that this is a position that you can run for, that is an elected position. So for me, I want to, help other people, get educated on this thing. And so I think to your question, Representative, is that I think it's not a not wanting to get involved, whatsoever that there's a lack of education. There's a gap there of not knowing what the school board does and that entity exists and what can they do to help bring about change. And I can tell you, I'm in school board meetings and I don't see a lot of people there at these meetings. And again, I think a lot of it goes to the lack of not being educated on what the school board is and what they do.
Wow, and I can say the same thing about legislators. A lot of people don't really know what we do, don't really consider it important. Out of a district of 26,000 people, have total of like 3,000 people that went out to the polls and actually voted. And so people don't really see, I guess people think that the teacher and the principals are the ones that are in charge of the school.
That's
but
right.
in actuality, it's the school board setting the policies. It's the school board setting the funding.
That's right.
Sure, so how much you're going to get paid. It's the school board that make all of these decisions. Like
School board choosing your superintendent.
There you go.
yeah, that's it.
There you go.
So that's such an important position.
It is. And so, like I said, for me, you definitely will have somebody out there educating and meeting with the community, because community is key. I tell people that this work, there's this idea or this misconception that in order for our schools to change, it's going to take teachers and administrators and those inside the building, but it's going to take a community effort. So I take a community building approach to education, which is why I'm such a big proponent of what they call community schools. And so that's a whole other topic right there, but I'm a big supporter of community schools because I'm somebody who's a community builder by nature. And so you have somebody who would definitely very much involve the community in, my decision-making process.
That's important. Keeping people informed, letting them know what's going on. I heard you mention that you're going to be doing like community meetings. Those are,
Absolutely.
those are very good. I try to do those as well. And
That's right.
I try to be, active on social media, try to get the word out, because when people know what's going on, people fight.
That's right.
And they feel included.
And they feel included. And no matter what the outcome is, people will appreciate that they knew beforehand versus you telling them 2 months beforehand that we're going to close 13 schools down. But if you're saying that, if you're saying, look, we're having issues with the schools, we may have to consolidate. You walk through the process, you let them walk through the process with you.
That's right.
They're still not going to like it, but people would respect that they would know that, we did all that we could.
That's right.
To say versus, we just cut close and nobody really cares. And so
And that's what democracy is about.
it is.
Letting the people have a voice in the decision-making process.
It is. That's amazing.
It is. Mr. George, you have done an outstanding job this evening explaining your platform, answering the questions in relates to what the school board position entails, what your goals are, for the position. And we definitely appreciate that. Hopefully Representative Nelson will have you back on before it's time for us to go to the polls.
Wait.
I would appreciate it.
Well, most definitely. Well, you can't go anywhere because you have a question. So it says, Hinds County School Board members seem to be joined at the hip. If you win, how would you incorporate your policies and ideals into their existing culture?
Great question.
It is a great question.
That is a great question. It's about, building consensus. It's about, bringing the people out, trying to get more people involved in the process. But again, it's really about building consensus and bringing fresh and new ideas, and trying to get them to see, that we're all in this for the same thing. We all should have a heart for the children. At the end of the day,
That's why we're there.
that's why we're there. We're here for the kids. And so once we kind of get to that understanding, once we get to the core of that, I think consensus building it becomes easier. But that's I'm not somebody who just trying to push weight around or just trying to do. I'm just somebody who has a heart for kids, for children, who wants to advocate for their best interests. Somebody who wants to make sure that parents have their voices heard, and how do we build consensus amongst those that are currently on the board to do the same thing as well.
And I will say doing right is not popular now. So,
That's
definitely expect the attacks. But definitely, as you alluded to, make certain that you have in your heart your purpose of being there. As the person mentioned about the Hinds County School Board members being joined at the hip. at some point in time, we have to bring some diversity in there.
That's
You know, we can I love Fabian to death, do anything that I can for him, but there are a lot of issues that I don't agree with him on. Some of them are personal, some of them are professional, but I don't agree with him on. It's not going to change my love for him, but it will change my outlook because I'm looking at the bigger picture. It's not about Brittany, it's not about Fabian. It's about whatever the topic is that we're trying to address at hand. And that's what Hinds County School Board, and not only Hinds County School Board, all school boards to consider. As you alluded to, Mr. George, we're there for the children. That's the only reason why we're there. If people take their children out, we don't have a job.
There you go.
And I'm going to tell you one thing that you're doing really good right now is you're building a coalition of supporters.
Yeah.
And so with your supporters, those are going to be your cheerleaders. Because when I took those no vote, the first no vote on Inspire,
I already know.
if my phone blew up,
I already know.
and when my coalition got behind me, like, thank you so much. And it made me know, like, thank you for standing up and doing the right thing. So in your heart, you'll be fine. And the thing is, so you have to always, remember that, it's going to be okay. We're going to get through it.
But I think what you did a really great job at is that you educated the people on why you voted the way you voted. It wasn't I voted no, and that's
And that's it.
That's it.
This is
you
the
did a
reason
great
why.
job, exactly, of breaking down why you voted the way you voted. And when you do that, people can't help but to respect that. Even if they still somewhat disagree, they can respect the fact that you took the time
To educate
them on it.
To educate them, I even posted, because I had a debate on the floor, so I even posted the videos of my debate so they could see the line of questioning I had.
That's right.
And, one of my questions was, if a child goes to charter school, come back to public, will the money come back? And they said, well, we haven't even addressed that in this bill. And so,
That's right.
and that's so simple to put that language in there. I mean, it's an easy fix.
And I just want to, let the people know in Hinds County that they're trying to come for Hinds County. They're trying to put language in these bills to bring those charter schools to Hinds County. And so, like yourself, and somebody who's aware of the issues, want to get informed about the issues. These are the things that I want to bring back, to the community and let them know what's coming. And so, just to kind of let them know that these are the things that they're trying to bring out. And I think a lot of even talking about Jackson Public Schools as well. Kind of going back to that, JP has moved up to a C district, and so because they moved up to a C district, they can no longer bring the charter schools in there. So now, how do I try to get these charter schools into these districts now that they're successful? I got to change the law. So if I can change the law to where now I can bring charters to successful districts, the Hinds County is not too far behind.
And you know what? You just set an alarm off in my head. I need to look at this new bill that's coming over and see, because it's possible they could put in there that, charter schools, it'll have to be a failing district.
That's right.
And so that's something. I'm glad you put that out there. I need to look at that. I'm gonna read the bill tonight and see, because that's how things happen. Things get snuck in and all that. It's not right, but it happens nonetheless.
That's right.
All right. So George, we'll let you give us your final comments. Hey, Representative Brown, how you doing? You're doing great.
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you all again for allowing me to be on your platform and just talk to your audience. I really appreciate it. And again, I'm George Stewart. If you want to go to my website and kind of read more about me, you go to www.stewartfordistrict3.com. That's www.stewartfordistrict3.com. And again, I'm an educator, still in the classroom. I'm a Hinds County resident, parent of 2 beautiful children in Hinds County, and I just want to see Hinds County continue to grow and prosper. And so I just hope that when it's time to vote, if I'm on your ballot, you would consider me to be your next Hinds County School Board representative.
All right. Well, that sums it all up, everybody. And thank y'all for tuning in. We will see y'all next Thursday.
Before we go, I cannot believe he did not say we want to wish Coach Tamika Reed the best blessings in her future.
Thank you.
I am so heartbroken. Me and Fabian are I love that heart, but I am heartbroken to the 19th degree. Jackson State was on the map. We were expecting to go to higher heights. But again, Coach Reed, thank you for all that you gave and that you did and put your heart into Jackson State. We wish you much success. That's how we want to end our show.
See, I just could say I'm so heartbroken. Now I want to start crying on the radio. But thank you so much, Coach Reed. We love you and good luck to you. And, keep on doing big things. And don't forget us at I Love. Please don't forget us. All right, Handy, you can take us away.